welcome to this episode of Storm Chasers. I'm your host, Karen Anderson.
And I'm the other co-host, Josette Ferguson. So what is storm chasing? Storm chasing is broadly defined as the pursuit of any severe weather condition. These storm chasers are seeking to identify the forces that are creating storms, impacting many lives around the world. These are their stories.
So, hey, Josette, I know we're working on planning for this presentation and interviewing people in the community to look at the forces that are happening, but let's really explain our why behind why we chose the idea of storm chasers.
Yeah, most definitely. I think storm chasing is the perfect analogy for what we're looking at. So the storm is the education system. The survivors of that storm are our students, and the disaster relief is the community resources to help the students succeed.
I love that. Let's go chase some storms.
Perfect.
So our first effort was a view from the top. Any great meteorologist first shows the community what the storm looks like from the top. Who has the view from the top, you might ask? Well, we believe the Guilford County School Board are the people who have the view from the top. They are able to create forces that create change in the school system. Let's hear their story.
The nurse person that we interviewed was the principal for Penn Griffin High School. And this principal and administrative person gave a lot of background in terms of the forces that he feels in terms of being able to manage the school as well as manage the expectations of a superintendent. This is his story.
Just funding. So we have enough money to buy toilet paper, and we have enough money to buy paper towels, and I can buy copy paper. So those are the things that you really don't want to run out of as a principal. So if you don't run out of those three things, you can kind of figure the rest out. But as soon as you run out of those three things, then you're in trouble. And so, but the problem is I don't have funding to buy enrichment services that I might need for my kids, right? So for me, I have mostly lateral entry teachers. So lateral entry are folks who come in from another area. They don't have a background in teaching or a formal teacher education program. And so they're going through classes to get that certification while they're actually teaching.
Next, we interviewed a community resource center. Any great disaster relief begins in the community. We had to identify what resources were there to begin to rebuild the community.
One of the disaster relief services is Youth Focus. Youth Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization agency dedicated to helping Guilford County youth and their families learn to deal with today's pressures. A powerful collaboration of medical professionals, therapists, administrators, and volunteers, Youth Focus offers substance abuse counseling, foster care, young women's housing, counseling, emergency housing, school, and educational groups. Some are covered by insurance or Medicaid, and others are available free of charge.
Our next location that we went to interview was Reading Connections, hosted at High Point Public Library. We spoke with the spokesperson there who shared the passion, the vision, and the mission for the program. She shared her passion for supporting adult literacy. What we found to be very interesting is that her passion was really isolated to immigrant adult literacy learners. There wasn't the same passion communicated about the very people in High Point who deserve the same services. Another thing that we noted is that many of their opportunities happen after 5 p.m. Why does this time matter? Because this is the time that the bus system stops running. So our question is, how does this really support the community of High Point? Is there equitable access? And is this fair?
So as I mentioned before, the survivors of the storm are the students. Most of the interviews that we conducted did not mention the students at all. So how can they survive in a system that does not mention them?
So we sought out to hear their stories. We interviewed approximately 25 youth and asked them, what is it like to be a youth in today's world? They were given anchor chart paper and they worked in groups to begin exploring what are some of the heavy weights that they're carrying, what are their distractions, and what do they wish the adults around them knew. These are their stories.
It's tough, especially for young black males to grow up in society. We're always viewed as a threat, or like we're gonna hurt somebody, or we're like convicts, or we're just, it's hard. The experience, I got on the elevator with this white lady one time. She just like grabbed both her kids, like harm them or something. And then one time I was walking by this lady's car. She locked the car, like she was all frantic and stuff. Like we're viewed as like monkeys in the jungle, stuff like that. Instead of actual people.
It's an issue now because most of my friends, they're black, and they just everyone's always messing with them. No one ever messes with me. I'm like, what did they do to you?
Like I said, being a youth means certain things you just can't talk about. You're not expected to feel certain things like weight or pressure because you're not paying bills and you don't have so many responsibilities. But in reality, life is stressful for a youth, and sometimes not being able to voice that and say, hey, I'm going through it to like your parents or like adults in general, because they were raised not to say certain things. Maybe it's very heavy sometimes. And sometimes I feel like as youth we all carry that.
I feel like we're kind of looked down upon because people say, I heard a person talking, I forgot who it was, but my dad was talking to them, and it was just like, what makes our generation so, they say we're going to be the most powerful, we're going to be the most greatest, we're going to be like the most brilliant, and said we're not. We're just crybabies because we, protest and boycott against everything, that just makes us little crybabies. And I'm just thinking, since can't get into adult conversation and stuff, but it's just like, we boycott for what we believe in. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough to what we believe in? It should be heard, even though it's not. It might not be a big deal to others. It's a big deal to us. Like that, all lives matter and Black lives matter. To kind of dispute. I agree with all lives matter, but at the same time, people are getting disputed because we are our color skin. Even though I might be light skin or he might be darker skin than me, we still get disputed upon.
Basically, just like he said, his is more like police brutality and like what police are doing. But mine, like the other day, I was just thinking, because there's been a lot of black on black murders and stuff like that going on. And you just see how it's affecting people, but I just don't understand how our ancestors, or not even our ancestors, just people we look up to, they did so much for us to be who we are now, but we're so worried about, oh, the police are killing us, this and that, but then we kill each other, and it's not a problem when we kill each other, but we want to protest and do everything else when they kill us.
A general word would be confusion, because a lot of times we don't know where we stand. I feel like this generation especially, we struggle so much with identification and who we are, because we have so many different influences around us, and a lot of them are terrible influences, and we choose to feed into them and take from them at the same time. So I feel like there's a lot of confusion, because you have some people over here, they're like in the church, and people are trying to pour into people. I'm trying to get you to lift your hand, tell you this is freedom right here, but people would rather choose conformity over freedom. So it's a matter of confusion. What do I know myself, or do I want to fit in?
So what have we learned? As we decided to chase these storms, we realized that there are a lot of different forces that are ultimately impacting not just our students, but the administrators and the systems that are supposed to create change in our world. The reality is that we're all drowning. As our youth have put it so eloquently, there are a lot of systems around them, but they don't see where they fit in. We believe that a part of the critical issues that we are seeing in education is that there's a disjointed effort to begin to evoke change. We believe that we must begin to unify our efforts unify our resources and our funding to really meet the needs of our students and our youth, because they will be the students and the ultimate leaders of the world tomorrow. This is urgent. This is a state of emergency. Something has got to change. Thank you for joining this episode of Storm Chasers. On to find another storm to chase.